Hey, 10th Fleet. Got a new guide video out for everyone. Mainly the new guys in the fleet, because if you've been on TeamSpeak lately, you probably have heard us talking about Ox2Bat. Ox2Bat has actually been popular for much, much longer than just a month, but and a lot of us have been using it, but we haven't really released a really in-depth video on what it is and how to set it up. So that's what this video is. This is a video so we can stop spending hours in TeamSpeak talking about it and explaining it to everyone. We can just stick the link and have everyone watch it. So I'm going to explain what Ox2Bat is, why we run it. I will demonstrate how it works, give you a couple pointers about it, and hopefully we can keep this video short and sweet. So let's get started. What is Ox2Bat? Ox2Bat is an ability that drains all but 5 of your auxiliary power and dumps it into the other 3 subsystems. It's quite substantial. I will demonstrate here. As you can see, I now have 5 auxiliary power and everything else is almost maxed out. At the end of 10 seconds, the power will return to normal. And as you can see, there it goes. It starts to return to normal, back to the way it's supposed to be. And then if I activate another Ox2Bat, it does the exact same thing. There is a little caveat to this. I think it's a glitch. Essentially, you can interrupt the power drain increase with another Ox2Bat and actually bypass, sort of bypass that Ox drain. I will demonstrate here in just a second. What I mean is at the end of that 10 seconds, your power starts to return to normal. If you activate the second Ox2Bat, a second copy of the ability, before it finishes normalizing, your power will actually normalize even though this drain has gone through. It's a glitch, but we aren't complaining. Here's a demonstration. I activate Ox2Bat. I lose all my Ox. At the end of 10 seconds, I can use the second one, right as the power returns. Watch what happens when I click it before the power returns. My power still returns to normal, or mostly normal. As you can see there, it's actually affected a little bit. If you wait till about halfway until it recovers and then activate it, it will actually drop back down and keep recovering itself. Again, it's just a glitch with the timing of the ability, but that's what Ox2Bat does. And normally Ox2Bat won't actually be that long of a cooldown. The reason that it is so good and why we all love it is because of a duty officer called a technician. You should already know what duty officers are at this point. Technicians, this is not on HD and you can't read it, essentially what it does, I'm not even going to read the description. Here's what it does. You can stack 3 of these things, and it lowers the cooldown of all bridge officer abilities by 10%, so a max of 30% because you have 3 of these things, 30% when you use Ox2Bat. So, and we run 2 copies. So, in order to run a proper Ox2Bat build, you have to have 2 things. You need to have 3 technicians of blue quality or better. All right, you're not going to get the same thing out of 3 greens or 3 blues. Really, you need to have at least 1 or more purples, and the rest can be blues. Remember that. That's a big one. A lot of you guys like to be like, oh, I've got a green, a blue, and a white, and I'm good. No, you're not. You need a purple, and a blue, 3 purples, or 2 blues and a purple. All right, anything less than that, you're wasting your time. Don't do it. So, that's the first requirement. Get your technicians. I will show you a couple ways how to get them at the end of this video. The second thing is you need at least 2 lieutenant or better engineering stations, or station slots, meaning, as you see here, I have a lieutenant, so Ox2Bat 1 right here, and then a commander with Ox2Bat in the lieutenant station. This does mean that, yes, if you have only a lieutenant commander engineering and nothing else, you could technically run Ox2Bat, because you could run Ox2Bat 1 and then Ox2Bat 2. Don't do it. You're wasting valuable slots, and it's just not worth it. If you have a lieutenant and a lieutenant commander, by all means run it. 2 lieutenants, by all means run it. If all you have for engineering is a single lieutenant commander or even a commander. Don't waste your time with Ox to Bat. You're just going to hurt yourself in the long run. But if you have at least 2 lieutenants or better, by all means, run it. That's the requirement. Running Ox to Bat 2, where the lieutenant commander is, to me is a waste of space. And there are better abilities out there instead of that. While we're on the topic of bridge officers, just a warning. Ox to Bat cooldown reduction is ridiculous. If you run 2 copies of any ability, they are wasted. Meaning, imagine that this Lieutenant Tactical was a commander. Notice I have Fire at Will 3 and Beta 3. If this was a commander right here, then this Fire at Will would be worthless. It would never even fire off because this Fire at Will 3 would be lowered so much that this one would never get a chance to. So just a warning, if you have a lot of one particular type of console, or one particular type of bridge officer, i.e. you have a commander and a lieutenant commander tactical, and 2 lieutenant engineerings, yes, you could absolutely run Ox to Bat with that. But you have essentially a completely useless lieutenant commander tactical, because those 3 abilities, you couldn't run duplicates. Now, yes, some people would be like, oh, I could run rapid fire instead of scatter volley, and I could have both. Well, yeah, but most people run keybinds. You can't run them both and alternate them if you're running keybinds, and you'd have to manually switch them out depending on what you're doing. So just be wary of that when you have your ship. If you have a lot of one particular type, you're probably going to have wasted slots. Next. So again, those are the 2 requirements. 2 lieutenant and the 3 technicians. 2 lieutenant engineering stations and 3 technicians. You've got to have it. If you don't, you can't run it. But I will say this much: the pool of ships that can actually run it are very, very high nowadays. There are quite a few ships. Almost every single KDF ship can do it, and the pool of Federation ships that can do it is pretty high nowadays. Just about every single cruiser can do it. Some escorts can't, but who cares? Escorts have so much tactical stuff that they can just run duplicates, so it's not that big of a deal. So, moving on. I've already demonstrated what Ox to Bat is. Now I'm going to demonstrate how it affects with the technicians. I have my 3 purple quality technicians. The cooldown of these 3 abilities is 30 seconds. They are 30 seconds. So when I activate all 3 of these, each one of them will have a 30-second cooldown. If you can, try to watch this in HD so you can actually see the cooldowns themselves. Bam, bam, bam. Ox to Bat. Boom. Now they're all 18 seconds. And Ox to Bat can affect these abilities twice. So I'm going to activate the second one. And boom. TAC is up. Beta is up. And my Fire at Will has got about 2 seconds left. So as you no doubt just saw right there, in the matter of 15 or so seconds, I'm able to use these abilities all over again. If you don't know what that means, that's essentially like having 2 tactical teams, 2 attack pattern betas, 2 Fire at Wills. Alright, there is a caveat to this. Ox to Bat can affect one ability twice with 2 separate ones, meaning this Ox to Bat right here could lower it once, and then this Ox to Bat right here can lower it one more time. It cannot lower it any more than that. Demonstration. Reverse show polarity, 2 minutes. Activate Ox to Bat. You'll see a chunk, a big chunk of it goes down. And then I will activate my second Ox to Bat. And bam, 46 seconds. And the duration between that was about 10, meaning my reverse show polarity, instead of a 2-minute cooldown, has a 1-minute cooldown. Now, watch. I have about 35 seconds left. I will activate Ox to Bat again, and it does not go down anymore. This is because I've already used these 2. They cannot affect this ability more than twice, and they will not. One other caveat. Ox to Bat does not affect your captain abilities, meaning Attack Pattern Alpha, big badass ability if you're a tactical captain, 2 minutes. Activating Ox to Bat, nothing happens. It will not affect your abilities, which is kind of makes sense because most of these abilities are pretty powerful. Another thing, activating a console. Aceton mode is activated. I'll pop it. 3-minute cooldown. Activating Ox to Bat. No effect. It will not affect consoles. There is one that it does, it's not supposed to, and I'm not telling you which one it is because it's broken. So that's the two caveats. Ox to Batt will not affect an ability more than twice, and it will not affect your abilities or consoles. So just warning you about that. One of the weaknesses of Ox to Batt, okay, is the lack of Ox power. I've showed you a way to bypass that. If Ox to Batt is activated fast enough, your auxiliary will recover. But during these cycles, you have no Ox power, which means your heals are essentially shit. Which means if you take a big shot in the middle of an Ox cycle, Ox to Batt cycle, and your Ox is this low, you're probably dying. This is really the biggest weakness with Ox. Now there are ways around this. Batteries will increase if used after the fact. What I mean by that is Plasmonic Leech is one of the most used consoles in the game. Everyone has one. Plasmonic Leech gives you power. If I activate Ox to Batt while Plasmonic Leech is on, i.e., let's say my Ox power now is 76. I'm firing on a target. That Ox power goes up to 100. I activate Ox to Batt, it will still drop to 5. It doesn't matter how high your Ox power is or what drains that you have. If Ox to Batt is activated while you have those buffs, it will still drop it to 5. If the buffs are activated after the fact, so let's say I activate Ox to Batt, and then I activate Plasmonic Leech, i.e. I attack something, I will gain a little bit of power. To demonstrate this, let me wait for the power to normalize, and I'll show you the effect like a battery. If I activate an auxiliary battery, I have a large Ox battery, my Ox power jumps to 125, Ox goes off, it's now 5. Vice versa, I activate Ox to Batt, my Ox is 5, I activate a battery, I gain a little bit of Ox power. So always use batteries if you're going to use it during the Ox cycle. So if your power dips, then you want to use your battery, otherwise you've wasted it. Just be careful with that kind of stuff, especially when you're trying to heal. Okay guys, that's pretty much it with Ox to Batt. I've already shown you what you need to do it, the type of ship you'll need to do it, and how it works. I've demonstrated how it lowers the cooldowns and why we love it so much, and why we use it. Now really quick, just a short couple minutes, I'm going to talk real quick how to get this stuff. The technicians, the easiest way for you to do it is if you've got energy credits pouring out of all of your orifices, buy them. They cost 10 million. They are not cheap. They cost 10 million EC per purple technician, meaning if you're lucky, 30 million EC minimum to get your 3 technicians. Blues usually run between 2 and 4 million. But blues, again, are not ideal. I don't recommend you get 3 blues. Try to get at least 1 purple. There's another way. There's a duty officer quest chain in the B-Tran cluster, or sector, whatever that is. There will be a link in the description of this video. I want you to click on it and I want you to read it. Do that chain, and at the end you will get a mission. If it crit successes, you will get a purple quality technician. And the best part is that last one is repeatable. You don't have to go through the whole thing again. You can just keep repeating that last final mission, and you can keep getting your technicians. So those are the 2 primary ways. I believe there are boxes that can actually have technicians. I haven't gotten one out of one. So, and if you know of another way, please put it in the comments. Please comment on this video if you know of another way to get a technician like this. But those are the 2 that I know, and I will provide a link on the B-Tran cluster setup, or the duty officer chain that ends with it. So that's it, guys. I am also going to post a link to a skill planner that has this ship here, my Voth Bastion cruiser. I'm not going to put any equipment on it, but I'm going to have my bridge officer loadout here, because I want you guys to be able to see what a Ox to Batt bridge officer setup should look like. An ideal setup, so you guys can mimic it if you need to. So if none of us are on and you're wondering, hey, which bridge officer ability should I run, I can show you there. So that's it, guys. That is Ox to Batt. I don't think I missed anything. If I did, please put a comment. If you guys have any questions, if I got any information wrong, if you notice something that I got wrong, please, by all means, put a comment in it. I do not fear criticism. I know sometimes I'm wrong, and I just hope that you guys can point it out so I can fix it later. So again, that's Ox2 Batt. That's how to set it up. I've shown you what you need to get it, what it's going to cost you, what you'll need to get it, and some of the tips and tricks on how to use it a little bit better. So that's about it for the guide, guys. This I would prefer, now that you've watched it, that this be that you pass this video on to any of your friends that are interested in it. If they're interested in an Ox2 Batt, send them this link. Send them it, because even though it is one of the most popular builds, it's much easier for them to watch a video and explaining how it works and demonstrating it than trying to explain it on TeamSpeak, because that takes an hour and it's just a lot of talking, whereas this video will sort of, I think, a little bit more efficiently knock that out. And they don't have to be in our fleet, by all means. If you have friends in other fleets, please send them the link to this video so they can see it and so they know how to do it. That's it for the video, guys. I'll see you guys in game. I'll see you on TeamSpeak. And if you have any ideas for other videos, by all means. And just a sort of a preview of what's coming up next, I have a new video in the works. Should be uploaded shortly after this one, of a new Infected Space Elite guide. This is not a guide on how to do it, because Infected Space Elite could be done by trained monkeys. At this point, I'm going to show you how to get those big parses. One of the things a lot of the you players like to do is get those big, badass 25, 30,000 DPS parses like some of us are doing. If you want to be able to do that, I'm going to show you a guide on how to do that in Infected. And I'm going to have that uploaded for you guys and show that off for you guys. So those of you that have those that are just right on the cusp of the big plateaus, 10,000, 20,000, or 30,000 DPS, and you want to break that, but you just can't seem to get it, hopefully that video will kind of show you, not so much change your build, but show you the right way to pilot and handle yourself in those in Infected itself, to maximize your damage. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you guys in game, and that's it.